Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. And listen, I'm trying to do an express train. Yeah, come on now, rebels. Let's get into it. I'm trying to do express train. This Diddy case, woo. This Diddy case has a lot of moving parts. A lot of moving parts. And so much to it, right? And it got settled in darn near 24 hours. Case came out. Next thing you know, case settled. Initially, the NYPD had a secret file with criminal charges with a person named Sean D. Pitty Combs, whatever. And then the next thing you know, the NYPD makes a statement and said, "Oh no, I don't know what employee told you we had this secret case. We ain't got no case against Diddy." Listen, money rules the world. Money rules the world. And it's a point blank in a period. The green dollar bill is king. Cash is king. Even when you go to stores and stuff, they prefer to have cash. They be like, what you paying with cash or card? And every time you pay with a card, they add a little premium on it. Oh, we gotta charge you extra 50 cents or $1 because the credit card companies, they charge us. Cash is king. Dollar bill, y'all. Okay? Yeah, he paid the people off. But this is not foreign. People been getting paid off for decades. Oh, yeah, they have. Decades people been getting paid off. Yeah. So, a lot of people, it went crazy yesterday when it came out that, Diddy and Cassie settled for undisclosed amount. I think she got her 30 million or more, but that's just me thinking. Now, I don't know no facts here. I'm just thinking she did. Right? And I've been combing through the 35-page document. Y'all ain't really ready to hear what I gotta say on this document, so we're gonna let that stay on the back burner. Y'all ain't ready. Y'all, because you know what? Sometimes I think we stay so connected to one piece of the story. If we start to dissect it, people are gonna get so emotional, right? And so I'm gonna leave that where it is. I'm gonna leave it where it is. I'm gonna just let everybody. We're just gonna have a general conversation. Yeah, I know it was a civil suit, and you always gonna get money. Yeah, I know all of that, right? So it's a lot. They settled, and he tried to shut down the noise because in that 24 hours, so many people were coming out the woodworks. Yeah, a lot of people was coming out the woodworks. They was digging up Diddy stories. They was dissecting every word he ever said. Showing fingernail polish. It went wild. And now I think there's a chef. There's an ex-chef out there claiming, she's ready to sue Diddy. He did something to her too. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Y'all don't want me to dig up in this thing. But listen, guys, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about this settlement. We're going to talk about the feelings. We're going to talk about how I think sometimes fake friends, because what's the name? Janet Jackson and Naomi Campbell, they just went and celebrated Diddy's 54th birthday with him. As soon as this case came out, guess what they did? They deleted the photos that they had on their personal Instagrams with Diddy. Yes, they did. Wait, have you heard the news story about Diddy allegedly hanging Singer well over a balcony? Listen, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked, y'all. Listen, unhinged is unhinged, right? And let's be clear. Diddy was accused of, having something to do with the unaliving of Tupac and Biggie. So what else can shock you after that when it comes to Diddy? Nothing. Diddy and J-Lo had a situation. They did. And he got off on that trial, right? And it involved the pow pow. What can shock you about Diddy? When Kim Porter left us, I'll be sure called Diddy's name. So now I'm not, so it's not, these allegations from her are not shocking to me, because they're just, they say where there's smoke, there's fire. There has been smoke behind Diddy for years. And there was some fires that, come on now. He had a dark cloud on him from the very beginning, though. Remember at City College, that concert he threw, and lives with people were unalived as a result of that? He had a dark cloud from day one. But you know what? We're going to get into it, guys. Let me bring the peeps in the building so we can talk about this settlement. And then, also I got on here Kanye West and his wife. Her friends did an intervention. Yeah, they did. They did an intervention. They did an intervention and said, listen, I don't know why you married him. He's controlling you. He tells you when to eat, walk, drink, talk, not talk. There was red flags. And so, although these two stories are very sensational, and it sparks a lot of heated conversation, I would really rather have a conversation. Yeah, that was Diddy. The City College was Diddy, wasn't it? I don't think I'm messing up my memory here. Let me say this. I would really rather have a conversation as to why we ignore the red flags. Why there's a stop sign up and we still decide to go. Why there's a yield sign up and we still proceed. That's the conversation I would really want to have. Because Cassie, and don't go all low level on me, divas victim shaming, because I'm not. But from the day she met Diddy, on day one when she met Diddy, she didn't like him. She thought he was too old for her. He allegedly took her and caught her in the bathroom or something and planted a kiss on her that she didn't want. How many red flags do we need? Do we need yet? I'm gonna try not to blow it up. No, I'm gonna try not to blow it up like he allegedly did Kid Cudi's car. I'm gonna try not to. But how many red flags do we need before we say no? I'm just checking. You want to know why a 19-year-old or 21-year-old with no red flags? Do I want to know why? Listen, at the end of the day, whether you're 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 30, 40, 50, 60, 75, if you are ignoring the red flags, doesn't mean they deserve. See, y'all being on low level here with the nonsense. Doesn't mean they deserve to be victims. Nobody deserves to be a victim. Let's not go on low level here. That's not what we're doing here on this channel in this conversation. Nope, not doing that. That nobody deserves to be a victim. If I'm driving my car and a drunk driver hits me, I don't deserve to be a victim. I mean, come on now. We already know that. But what I want to know is, because there's other young ladies, okay? See, again, Anana, y'all can leave because y'all being low level. Come on, so if you're 19, let me ask you this. If you're 19, we're going to send every 19-year-old out there to the jungle and not prepared because they 19. We're going to excuse all of them being naive. And then, come on now. That's ridiculous. So no, get off of the ridiculous stuff of victim shaming. Nobody deserves to be a victim. But I'm asking us as ladies, how many red flags are we going to ignore? How many red flags does it take for us to say, no, I'm not going to do that? Right? So don't come in here with the victim shaming. I'm not dealing with that low level conversation. It's ridiculous to me. Right? So I'm just saying, I've seen, we all seen the nastiest cases. I could pull up 22 for you because I pulled up some for this. Yeah. So, but you're saying she's only 19. Yeah, but if she's only 19, how do you prepare the next 19-year-old not to walk in this jungle? So let's stop that. Nobody's over here victim shaming. And if you don't want to hear this conversation, then leave, because there's so many other content creators that have been dealing with this same topic, and they're probably saying things you want to hear better than what I'm about to say to you. I'm trying to save my next 18, 19-year-old sister. Because when I was growing up, you know, each one teach one. Your grandmother, your mama done told you what to be aware of. Why are we okay with telling people when you driving, don't speed, don't drive drunk, whether you're 18, 19, 60, or 17? We got to send these same messages when it comes to dealing with men. We have to. Watch out. Do not be these older men. They're going to try to talk to you. They're going to want you. Run. Yeah, but they can ignore the real red flags. That's reality, but we can teach. We can teach. Just like you teach your kids, don't eat too much candy. Just like you teach your kids how to jump, run, skip, or whatever, you can teach your kids. Come on, Sandy 2 cents. I hate when some women act like we're powerless to run when the first wear fab before you get dragged for filth. Sandy 2 cents, thanks for connecting with me. Come on now. You got to, come on, we got to teach. So we over here teaching today. Yeah, come on now. We over here teaching today. If you want to stick with victim 19, if my 19-year-old is about to go on a trip to Florida or wherever, go on vacation with their friends, I'm going to give them a whole list of stuff. You call me. You watch out for this. Don't be walking around that place by yourself and you don't even know where you at. Come on now. We got to teach. Let me bring the people in the building because y'all got me shaking the train and we ain't even start yet. Hey, Leo.
Hey, Diva.
Hey. Come on, Robin. The City College stampede was in 1991. 9 people were killed. My neighbor went to church with some of the victims. Come on, that was Diddy.
That was his promotion. He promoted that concert.
I want to say yes. Listen, the smoke has been behind him for decades. Decades. And here's the thing, too, I want people to understand. We're fortunate with this social media day and age. You definitely don't have to. You can look up and see if there's some red flags. You better Google that person. Hey, Felicia.
Hey, everybody. Hey. Okay, we getting into the classroom tonight. Everybody going to school. Everybody going to school.
You better holler. Class is open. This is adult learning tonight. You better come on through. Hey, E.
Hey, don't come for me tonight.
Don't listen. Buckle your seatbelts, people. Buckle your seatbelts. Hey, Juanita.
Hey. Ready for the bumpy ride?
Ay. Okay, in my opinion.
Hi, Diva. Hi, everyone.
Hey, in my opinion.
Hey, Bunny.
Hey, everyone. How you doing?
Good. Hey, Wayne.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, Dustin. Hey, Denzel.
Hey, Diva. Everybody, good evening. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Master class tonight, Mary. Come on now. Talk to us. Yes. Okay. So, yes. Thank you, Robin. It was a charity basketball game. Puffy and Diddy were headliners at the event. Yes. That was a tragic situation. All right, everybody. Let's talk about this story. We all know.
Diva, I have a request, please.
Yes,
go ahead. Please move me from in between them two powerhouses up there? Because I'm a little tired. They're going to eat me alive. Please. throw me down there between who's that? Dustin and Denzel.
You want to know what's funny? I don't know how to shift the order after I bring everybody up. So I got things to learn.
You're gonna live, Felicia. You're gonna live. And put remove and then put it back up there.
She gonna stay.
Gonna be all right.
I feel her though.
She gotta handle it. She gotta handle it. Yes, Dustin. Yes, Dustin.
I want to make an announcement real quick. I won't be having any show on Juice Radio Talk Show until January 11th because we're taking a holiday vacation. So the next show will be. We're taking a holiday. We're taking a holiday break. So we won't be back until January the 11th.
All right, that sounds good. Okay, so let me get into this, y'all. Thank you for the announcement. Okay, let's get into this. We gotta talk, right? So let's first talk that Cassie filed this lawsuit and she shook the industry upside down. When I tell you the people were coming out the woodworks, having pictures, video clips, Diddy horror stories, okay? But Diddy did it like most people should. Okay, he went in and he settled that thing quick, fast, in a hurry. Now, listen, guys, I sit back. When I come to do these stories, I take a minute because I'm like, oh, whoa. Is this the road I want to go down? And then once I do go down that road, I have to gather some information. I ain't spending 100 hours gathering information, but I gather enough so I can have a conversation with y'all, right? And then I come to my own conclusion, and you know how we do over here. Stand your ground, because I'm going to stand mine, right? So she filed her lawsuit. People were coming out saying things about Diddy, and I wasn't falling off my seat when I heard about these Diddy stories. Why? Because we've been hearing about Diddy for decades. Heard about Diddy when the lovely Kim Porter, may she rest in peace, because I think they said the other day was 5 years since she's been gone. There was smoke, there was smoke in the air about Kim Porter and Diddy in the mix of it when she passed, because it was a mystery. One day she had a cold. The next day they thought maybe COVID. Then they said pneumonia. Then they said she was gone. And when they did the autopsy, it was a bunch of fubaloo, if you ask me. Okay? Because she was a young girl to have not survived the situation that they claimed she had. So then I'll Be Sure came out. Just taking her down memory lane. I'll Be Sure came out, which is Kim Porter's, one of her baby daddies, her son Quincy, who Diddy, because you know what? We can act like money rules the world. Okay? If you black, you may get treated a some way, but if you black with money, you get treated a whole nother way. It's just facts. I'm just saying, right? So anywho, her baby daddy, her son Quincy, who, by the way, once Diddy got with Kim Porter, snatched Quincy up and made Quincy his own. Yeah, he did. But that's a whole nother story too. But I'll Be Sure came out and he said, something ain't right. Kim Porter didn't just leave us. He alluded to the fact in a very emotional live Instagram that Diddy did something to Kim. 2 seconds later, that was snatched down. He put up an apology. He misspoke. That's what I'll Be Sure did. He misspoke. And the next thing you know, I'll Be Sure has some mysterious illness. And he's in a coma for months. He almost didn't make it back. He didn't make it in months. He almost didn't make it back to this side. But somehow he survived and he's still here. So only reason why I brought that up is to say these Diddy stories are not foreign at all. No, many people have talked about Diddy and his ways and the things that he allegedly do. But shout out to Wendy Williams. Shout out to Wendy Williams, because she was the original one. So peep this. This is tell you how many decades the Diddy stories have been going on. She was the original one who told us about Brother Love, P. Diddy. All right. So Aubrey O'Day, she came out in with in solidarity with Cassie. Then she came out and was pissed that it got settled just like that, because she wanted Diddy to suffer. She wanted to see Diddy suffer. Okay. But she was mad that it was shut down in less than 24 hours. But let me tell you this. Although it was shut down in 24 hours, it's still not going to stop the floodgate of people coming after Diddy, because now a chef of his, or a former chef of his, is coming and speaking out. Let me just share one article, and we're going to start to get into this story. And as we get into it, I will interject and break through with some more information, and we'll just keep adding on, and adding on. Okay. So Cassie and Diddy, we settled explosive lawsuit. Okay. So they say she came in with explosive and grenades, and then she said, we settled this like friends. But all of those statements are generic statements from their respective publicists or attorneys or whatever. And Diddy's attorney said, let's be clear, people. His decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023. So he's trying to tell you, this is the way things goes in 2023. Is in no way an admission of wrongdoing. So he said, don't be thinking, because my client settled, that he's guilty. Mr. Combs' decision. Hold on 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. All right. So he said, listen, people, don't be thinking he's guilty. Okay. He said, undermine his flat out denial. This lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat out denial of the claims. Wait, hold on 1 second, guys. All right. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Okay. And just like that is over. Okay. Cassie and her ex Diddy are settling the bombshell lawsuit she filed just 1 day ago. 24 hours, people. Okay, alleging he armed her and engaged in human trafficking, and they said they're doing it like friends. Both parties released statements late Friday saying the legal war was over. Cassie said, I decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some control, some level of control. Do y'all see the words? I have some level of control. You want to know why she got that money? Was told you got to shut your mouth for the rest of your life. This is diva interpretation. Look at the words. That I have some level of control. Some. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyers for their unwavering support. Diddy said similarly the same thing. We have decided to resolve this matter like friends. I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love. Okay? The stunning announcement comes as the dust was still settling from the jaw-dropping allegations Cassie had leveled against Diddy. Now, listen, I ain't going to go through the rest because we know what the rest is. I will say this to you, though. They're saying he has no, they're saying he has no criminal cases. Come on now. That's what it says. Shut your mouth. They told us shut up. So no matter what else comes out, they ain't going to be able to bring Cassie in as a witness. Shut up, Cassie. She said some level of control. Okay. Leo, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I believe that this is not the end of Diddy's troubles. This is the beginning of his troubles. No one practiced this type of debauchery, right? No one practiced this form of debauchery at this level, and it just be this one person or these two people, these three people, and it only happened in 2006 or 2016. He been doing it all the way up to now. So just be prepared for others to come through and also make claims when it comes to Diddy and what he's or Puffy is what I like to call him, and Puff Daddy again. But NDA does not stop criminal charges. So what I do suspect is that someone will file criminal charges. And even though Cassie had to sign an NDA, and I have no doubt that they both sign NDAs, and they will both be quiet, and nobody will say nothing, and you get your money as soon as possible. Like a hot wire came through. The lawyers got their money, and then she got her money. A hot wire came through when the settlement happened, right? That was all agreed upon as well. Now, if someone brings forth a criminal case, an NDA does not stop. When you get subpoenaed from the DA or for the district attorney or from the U.S. attorney, let's say they do a RICO because of some trafficking things, then she will have to speak under oath. It won't, an NDA don't stop that, right? But what I can say as far as red flags are concerned, it is, in my opinion, it depends on how thirsty you are and what your foundation was and where you at in your state of trying to be a star. Because I just looked at the video today and I ain't never even remembered the video, but the girl is talentless. I mean, she can't sing, she can't dance, she's just a pretty girl. She is definitely talentless. So I can see how he came through to take advantage, and I can see how she understood as well that she needed to link with this person to be able to become famous. And I don't want young girls to feel like desperation can't lead you through this world in nothing. Not wanting to become successful in business, not wanting to become successful as the fry cook at the McDonald's, and you feel like you want to be a shift leader, you cannot lead with desperation. Do not lead with desperation. Start with hard work. How about that part? Start with that part. Not necessarily being desperate and will do anything and whatever to be in proximity of fame and money. Diddy, Puffy is going down, y'all. More people is going to come through. This is not over. I can't tell you who it's going to be. I can't tell you what's going to happen and how it's going to happen, but this is not over. And whereas Cassie took the settlement, which means that everybody came to an agreement to what the monies is going to be, Puffy side agreed and Cassie lawyers agreed. And all the lawyers have agreed that they all going to get paid. They all signed their documents that we done and we over with in this particular phase. But I don't think that this is the end. And as far as the NYPD is concerned, I feel like there was that was a hiccup. I feel like they came through and lied. They said, "Oh, we don't have no case going on. Ain't nothing secret going on." But at the same time, though, they appeal to people. If you have a situation that you got, come talk to us. So it's not over even with that. They said it was over, but they lying. It's not over. They probably have been investigating. They probably do know people. They're going to have more people come through. That was just a civil case. A criminal case is going to come through. Now, other civil cases is going to come through as well, but a criminal case is on its way.
Well, remember, she got this civil lawsuit in because she had a statute of limitations, right? She got this civil lawsuit in as a result of that law that expires on November the 24th. I was thinking in my head that he should have, go ahead and settle, but he wanted to stop the noise, right? But announce it on the 24th. So before those other people could perhaps get a case in before this statute, the ones that the statute of limitations
is about to expire on. But he a monster. So it's not like this has stopped. He has still been doing these things. So it's about to be a chef, a cook, a driver, a dancer, a background singer. It might be anybody that can come through in recent years and say the person who cleaned the spot, who cleaned the pool. I mean, it can be anybody that can come through and say they have experienced some type of abuse or some type of violence through the hands of Diddy. And it could be a criminal case that won't be outside of the statute of limitations. And right. And the fact that he has this criminal lawyer lets me know that when they came through for their counter to this declaration, to this complaint, they also implicated Cassie as well as saying, hey, you were complicit in this. Me and Felicia had this conversation earlier today, and she peeped me the game because I asked her, I said, why would he answer this complaint with a criminal attorney? And he the best in the game. Like, he is the best in New York. That's because they coming up with a strategy to say, okay, now, young lady, you say all these things happened to you, but you was complicit in these things as well. So don't come in on your high horse thinking you just gonna burn everything down to the ground, because you were a legal adult. You were a legal adult, and they always come through and say, hey, look, if you participated in these things, then you were just as complacent as he was. That's how criminal attorneys come through.
Yeah.
So he has procured someone to protect him for future things as well. Because Puffy know it's coming. It's been stirring up.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire. And like I said, I was trying to pull back up the article where the chef said something too. Listen, when you have someone that does this behavior, just like the Bill Cosby, just like the Weinstein, it's widespread, right? And always when you have the first brave person to speak out, many come behind them. We're going to see how this continues to unfold. Felicia, your thoughts?
Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing great. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Leo, for the shout out. For all the folks on the panel in the chat, I want y'all to know that Diva put me to work. She said, I need you to read that 35-page document. And not only have I read it, I've marked it up.
Oh, shoot.
So when she opened the show, she said, everybody was going to learn. We're going to learn. We're going to go to school.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So if you all will allow me, I want to do a little class here. No, I'm not a lawyer. Mm-hmm. But I work for the best lawyers. And if anyone has been listening to me in the past and on this case, I said she didn't only have a good attorney, she had great attorneys. Mm-hmm. And that her complaint was structured in a manner that was so brilliantly done and prepared in citing the laws, citing previous cases, and telling her story. So I did a little back check on her attorneys. So we have Doug Wigder, who started this firm, Wigder LLP. Their specialty is sexual harassment, employment harassment. The two partners on her case, Meredith Feiertag. God, she went to Stanford Law. I think it's top 3 in the world. And then she went to the #1 law school, Oxford. Come on now. And her partner, Michael Willermean, homeboy out of New York, went to Fordham Law. What a brilliant job they did on that brief. If any of you got time to read it, I suggest you do. Now, Leo mentioned Mr. Combs' attorney. Mr. Combs' attorney, Benjamin Brafman, has been his attorney since 1999, when he went on trial for illegal weapons and bribery charges. He was referred to as what Mr. Combs calls him, Uncle Benny, and was acquitted of the criminal charges, which stemmed from a nightclub brawl while he was accompanied by then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and his usual entourage. It turns out that he again represented him in several other cases, as well as this $30 million sexual assault lawsuit. So that gives people some background, I hope, that he has been his lawyer for decades. And why is that important? Because when you pick up the phone to call your lawyer, you don't want to have to give the backstory. You don't want to have to explain who this person may or may not be. You may not want to say, you know, look, I got myself in a little jam. They know you. And so they don't have to say, hey, are you telling me everything I know? Listen, don't let me find out from somebody else. I don't want to find out from the plaintiff's attorney. Talk to me now. This is a long-term relationship. So he picks up the phone and he finds out that his former employee, and let me be clear, I hope everybody heard that. This lawsuit is not about a boyfriend and girlfriend. This isn't about domestic violence. This is about her employer and her boss. If you're not believing, pull out these 35-something pages. He is referred to as the defendant, her boss, her employer. She's the employee, okay? So he tells her that there's these things that Miss Ventura is saying she's going to do, and he's not certain, and he says, sit still a minute, let's see what happens. In this country was built on the Constitution, the written word. This is what our mayonnaise brothers and sisters respect. All the verbal back and forth on these YouTube streets, that's not, it's interesting to us, it's entertainment, but it's not whether or not you're breaking the law or you're doing something illegal or it's true or not. So anyway, I guess he says, you know what, we're not, my client doesn't know really what she's talking about. We're not doing no 30 million. And they dropped this beautiful complaint Thursday about 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And they don't go to third, fourth level social media. They go straight to the New York Times. And they also posted on their webpage, you can go there, Wigdor LLP, and they posted Mr. Combs and the lawsuit, and they went into detail on their own website. Now, traditionally, when someone files a complaint against you, you have 30 days to answer. Mr. Combs and his legal team decided they're not addressing any of this. What do I mean? Usually you answer, you can holistically deny all of the allegations. We deny number 1 to, 147? No, I'm wrong. 186, 190 areas of complaint against Mr. They make a phone call and they say, okay, Mr. Combs is probably, this is me now. And I'm going from the language that I've often heard of where I earn my own money. Our client is very distressed about this. He's not certain what's happening. He has a great deal of love and respect for Miss Ventura, for Cassie. He's not certain what exactly this is, but he's feeling that there needs to be some kind of resolution. And he's looking at this time to resolve this matter. And they say, well, so are we, but she's looking for so-and-so and so or whatever. And they say, well, we're not going in that direction. So as I was reading through this complaint, I want to just read. I don't know how many of you read it. Yes, there's a lot of salacious details. One of the things that kept coming up was that they mentioned these events, these things that they would do in major, well-noted hotels. Hotels that many of us probably stayed at. Intercontinental Hotel, the Fontainebleau in Miami. One of them was, I think, the Pierre Hotel. And we know that hotels have staff. So these things didn't occur without other people who have nothing to do with this music company or whatever, knowing what's going on. So much so that they were at a particular hotel where he became very violent and he threw some glasses at her, or glass, a champagne glass or something, and it was caught on the hotel security camera. And so he bought it for $50,000. Why do I mention that? Because someone says, well, she just put in a complaint. Yes, but if you had actually gone through with it and you're looking at discovery, they knew that there was evidentiary documentation. So one of those things is that footage. The other thing that I found very interesting, and I hope I can read this with understanding, Mr. Combs, this is 128, Mr. Combs' tight hold over her life had irreparably damaged her friendships around 2018 when Miss Ventura was with her friend, Kerry Morgan, in her house. Mr. Combs used his key to Miss Ventura's house and came in unannounced. He and Miss Morgan had an altercation. I'll say it again. He and Miss Morgan had an altercation, during which Mr. Combs threw a hanger at Miss Morgan. Upon information and belief, the incident resulted in a settlement between Mr. Combs and Miss Morgan. And Miss Ventura, I want everybody to really hear this part, Miss Ventura ended up paying Miss Morgan additional funds in an attempt to resolve the dispute between her close friend, and this is the first time he's identified as such, and her abusive, controlling boyfriend. I'm going to bring it to a close here. In support of what Leo mentioned and what we talked about, some people said, well, seems like Cassie just wanted the money. Yeah, she's been damaged. She's been traumatized. What a horrific, ugly life that she gave us in those pages. I would never want to be her. I would be suffering if that was my daughter. But the reason why I believe this came to such a quick settlement is because all through this document, it's discussed how Miss Ventura had made phone calls, had brought in the sex workers who had purchased drugs illegally. And therefore, as I was saying to Leo, because you identify someone as a sex worker, many of us immediately think of adults. But I thought about young people who are, to the folks in the chat, 19, 18, 17, 16. We going to a bad boy entertainment party. Come on. Hey, it's so-and-so on the phone. She's all of 21. She's not hanging out with E. Damn sure ain't hanging out with me. Forget a diva. Everybody is under the age of probably 21. So all these young people who want to be near somebody in the business, want to get an opportunity, they hear that there's this party going on. And she's making the phone calls. Miss Ventura is making the arrangements. And here they come to these parties that go on for 3-5 days. And they're doing all this dope and drugs and sexual abuse. So yeah, this happened to you, Miss Ventura. But you are also complicit and a co-conspirator in creating this scenario. And for those of you who want to get crazy right now, I'm going to give you the premier example of who I'm talking about. Because I believe when the call came, they said, okay, we don't want to go to trial. But if we do, we're going to drag her. And we're going to call her a co-conspirator. And we're going to call her a human trafficker. And who do we know recently was found guilty doing 20 years in jail? Ghislaine Maxwell.
You better talk to the people.
Is dead. She's doing 20 years in jail for what he did. And she helped him to do.
You better talk.
So when I'm giving this lesson here tonight, I don't want you to think, oh, yeah, well, they had some sex workers and they got a 42-year-old AJ off the corner. No, they got your kids. They got your nephew. They got your niece to come in on this debauchery, this inhumanity. So when we talk about, well, she's only 19, yes, but she attracted. She's that honeypot. Anybody remember I was talking about honeypots? She was the honeypot. So when she said, I want 30 million, I want 50 million, they said, we're not going there. But if you take us there, you're going to end up with Giselle. Who's Giselle? Who's that? She's doing 20 years right
20,
now 20 for human trafficking. So yes, I believe she got a nice piece of settlement. I believe Wigdor took her case on contingency. When they take a case on contingency, it's somewhere between 33 and 40% of what you get. So I believe she got somewhere between 13 and 20 million dollars. And I'm done with my lesson for now.
Well, holla. Catch the lesson, people. Catch the lesson. In case you missed this, let me say this. I'm going to just add this and then I'm coming to Bunny. This is a true story. Young lady, because y'all love to stay on the numbers. She was in college, 19, very naive, got connected. What they call the kingpin, not just your average drug dealer on the street running stuff. He was considered the kingpin. She was 19. She was naive. All these similar things that Cassie said, she said too. She had to be pardoned, but they gave her darn near a life sentence. And y'all want us to sit here and get emotional and stay connected to an age. These 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds that being trialed as adults. And y'all want us to stick to, 19. Oh, if this was your daughter, we trying to help somebody's daughter or son. That's why respectfully, I don't really get down like this much. I'm saying if you're going to stay connected and be on that low level, go. Leave the chat. Did you hear the lesson Felicia just gave? Yeah, that chick is now doing however many years she's doing in jail. What did they say? Ignorance doesn't excuse you from the law. It doesn't. You could be 17, 16, 15, 14. You better catch a lesson or find yourself behind bars being woe is me, talking about, I'm so young, I didn't know. Well, now you know. Now you know. And you about to do some time. Now you know. Bunny, you're up.
Hey, everyone. So, it's funny because I was bartending for a couple of years, like maybe 7 years up until 2021. Mm-hmm. And before I was bartending, I used to use my older sister's ID. And I'm speaking from a perspective of someone who was underage, doing grown-ish, doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing, right? Because I grew up in a very strict and sheltered household. And I'm from New York City. My parents are from other countries and they're very strict. They raised us like we were back in the village, and I wanted to break free. So I lived with my sister in my senior year of high school, and I would be outside with her ID, going to places where I know those people knew I wasn't 21 yet. And they would still let me inside of those clubs, those spots, because, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm getting away with something. But then when I went inside those spots, I realized, it's like, he's 35, he's 40. Oh, he's talking to me like, and, like when they spoke to me, they would be offering money or, shiny things to entice me. They know I'm not 21. So that's one thing that I learned early on. And I did date an older man or two. Not to fully incriminate myself, but it's like I don't have money, I'm young, I'm outside, I'm wilding out. And and it's like you learn, as much as some people can sit there and tell you not to do something, sometimes you're just dumb and you just do it anyway.
Right.
And I learned through experience because I was hard-headed, and a hard head makes a soft what. And I had to learn the hard way that that wasn't it. Then I transitioned from going to the bars while I was like in high school, going to college. um Towards the end of my college stint, I went to bartending school to become a bartender because I would see the bartenders making money. So when I became a bartender, I would see the younger version of me who's 17 with the ID, coming into the spots. And I can't serve them now. But in a way, it's like, sometimes I would tell them, like, pull them to the side and be like, be careful, how you getting home. I would try. And even though I'm 21, 22, I'm trying to help the girls that were once me and just misguided. And it's a thing where I understand where Cassie's mind was, because I once was a Cassie. I once was a Cassie. And trying to get into entertainment and all the things. Like, I have a extensive dance background and acting background as a teen and young adult. So I already, a lot of people, even bartending, will come up to me, oh, I could change your life, I could do this, I could do that. A lot of it is nonsense. But I could see where she met a Diddy and was like, this is Diddy. Like, this is my chance. Because if you remember, when she was 19, she was dating Ryan Leslie. Right? Diddy took Cassie from Ryan Leslie because she went with Diddy because, of course, he has way more. He's more influential. This is a life-changing opportunity. So I feel like, even though some of us, some 17, 18, 19-year-olds don't want to listen, don't be afraid to still say something. They 21, don't be afraid to say something. Even myself, I still talk to like 21-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds around my neighborhood and through passing and in dance studios that I take dance classes at, and tell them to be careful. And some of them listen, some of them don't. But I've seen a lot of girls get caught up in the rapture. Like, I'm 30 now, but I've seen throughout the past like 10, 12, almost 15 years, I've seen girls get caught up in the matrix, and they're strung out, they're on drugs, they're baby mamas, they're all kind of things. And a lot of them, they see me now and we're the same age, and they're like, you still look good, you still look youthful, you don't have any kids, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I was like, I just knew when to get out. I just it's sometimes you got to use your instinct. And I'm not victim blaming, because if Diddy came to me, there's no telling what I would do. There's no telling. I might be the same way Cassie was, if not worse. So I'm not blaming her, but at the same time, it's like, as much as when us girls are young and you see younger girls, sometimes you got to keep drilling it in their head to tell them that's not the way. Because sometimes a girl come up to me and because I go to Broadway Dance Center, sometimes a girl will be like, oh yeah, I got this opportunity, this guy, he wants me to do a solo dance at this studio, it's just gonna be me and him, and he's me. And I'm just like, who's the guy? Let me see the guy. Or, oh, I got this audition, but for an acting job, and there's going to be some partial nudity. They want me to be topless. And I said, how much does it pay? What studio is it under? Who's the producer? And when they show me the stuff, it's not official. I'm like, oh, no, 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 don't go there. Don't go there. Because there's a lot of people that use the little bit of power, the little bit of clout to prey on younger women, on younger girls trying to make it into the industry. And it's like, all money ain't good money. All opportunities aren't good opportunity. Some of these opportunities, the devil is right behind it.
Come on now.
Literally. Ooh. I'm telling you, there's been times I've been on photo shoots and I've literally had to walk out because the photographer would touch my leg a certain way, and I'm just like, oh no. I already know what's going on here. You don't care about my pictures. You care about the other things. So it's like, don't be even, it's like, I'm still learning. I'm still growing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an OG, but I have experience. I've been on earth a long time, but not that long, but I'm still the things that I can pass on, I will pass it on. And I just feel like, sometimes some girls are resistant when you try to tell them, but still don't be afraid to put your 2 cents, because sometimes after we hear that advice and sometimes we're in the middle of it and we're like, you know what, that lady at the train station was right. That lady at the store was right. That lady at the function, she was right. Or at the cookout. Sometimes we have a self-reflection after we did not listen to y'all, which we should have. We make the bad decision, and afterwards we regret it and we're like, darn, we should have listened to her. She was right. Because sometimes one thing I've learned early, like, older women ain't hating on us. They're not hating. Sometimes they were you when you were young, but you can't see it because they're grown now. But if you look back at their pictures, they were that girl in their time when they were 19, when they were 21, so you can't judge a book by their cover just because maybe there's a few gray hairs, maybe they're grown and they have grown kids. You just never know who you're talking to. So, it's best to just take the advice in and take the pieces that you can take from it.
Absolutely. I loved a lot of things that you said, but I really love the fact that you're trying to talk to people. And that's all we can do, right? You plant the seed. And even if you just say one, you save somebody, right? You got to plant the seed. And, I always go by each one, teach one. And you always can still learn, right? And yes, there are plenty of people, right? You get ID, you want to get in the club, this, that, and the other.
That was me.
Right. A lot of people, though, right? And it's all when you're doing it out of all innocence. I'm just gonna go party, gonna go have fun, right? But unfortunately, you're walking in the lion's den, right? And so I think a lot of times is what we have to teach people is there's certain things that have an age limit on it for a reason, right? And the reason is it's not going to guarantee that you be prepared and ready to deal with that situation you perhaps are walking into, but maybe you will be a little bit more prepared, right? If I can't get into a club until I'm 18 or 21, but I'm sneaking in there at 15, I'm going to see some things. And I'm going to see some things that maybe change a whole lot that's going on inside my head, right? So a lot of these things are put in place to protect you somewhat, right? We can never protect anybody 100%, but all we can do is try our best and definitely share information with the younger generation. So I think it's great that you're doing that. And I also think it's a lot of people like, what's the big deal in terms of like these older men dating these younger women? I will say this sometimes, and this is not out of any disrespect, no matter how grown a person may look, when they start to talk to you, you can kind of gather around, okay, they're kind of young with their age, right? And a lot of these men, I don't want to say a lot, but some of them are predators. When you're 30 something, almost 40, 37, almost 40, and you're interested in a 19-year-old, that says a lot, in my opinion, right? SD Mac, thank you for the super chat. Speak on that. NXIM S code in NY. The two female actresses was convicted on sex trafficking on behalf of the male cult leader. Documentary was on HBO. I saw some of that. I do know what you're talking about. What happens with a lot of those cases, thank you so much for the super chat and that message. What happened in a lot of these cases, and again, I want you to get beyond the victim blaming, because it's not this, it's just facts of what happens. After a while, when they're trying these cases, they're like, okay, but at some point you realize what was going on and you knew what was up. and then you allowed this other girl, you allowed, in my opinion, to come in, Diva, and you already knew, and you didn't want her. Matter of fact, you encouraged her to come in, right? And then it's like, okay, in my opinion, once you found out, but then you still encourage E to come in. It gets messy and it gets tricky. In my opinion, your thoughts?
Okay, so first, thank you, Felicia, for doing an amazing job on detailing that thing. I'm coming at it a different way, and I'm gonna make it real quick. I feel like the reason this stuff is keep happening is because it's not enough awareness on what to do before it starts happening. And I say all that to say, and I thought about this for a long time, we get up in uproar when it happens to somebody who's a celebrity. But it's happening to normal people every day.
Come on. Come on.
We champion people when it's celebrities, but what about the mom? What about the kids that lost their mama because she didn't get out in time? When you see red flags, you can't ignore them, because that could be the difference between you being here or you being gone. I never wish for no woman or man to ever be misused, mistreated, or even abused. So if you see it happening, say something. You don't have to get in a relationship. I wouldn't tell you to do that, because that's the easy way to get hurt. But you can call the police and be anonymous. You can call resources and be anonymous and tell them what you see. So if you see something, say something. If you see somebody going through it, get them help. Please. I've had enough of seeing it happen. I was raised around it. I don't want to see it. It's traumatizing to have to go through it day in and day out. And yes, I went to counseling for my trauma, but it does affect me every time I have to do these. It does. It still does, because that's something I have to live with. It was something I was raised in. And I feel like children should be loved and protected at all costs. And if we're putting our children through seeing it, we're torturing our kids and wrecking what little life they could have had, because we're putting trauma on them that they don't need. Thank you, Diva.
Thank you. E, you're up.
Hola. Listen, I connected with Bunny for sure. Mm-hmm. And I am so grateful that Felicia gave us that lesson and went through it step by step. I'm going to start by saying I stand by everything I said the other night, and I will repeat it again. I know men and women personally who make it their business to find out where power players are going to be, so that they can position themselves in the same room and change their circumstances. They're trying to achieve whatever concept of success that they think they can smear upon themselves from being linked to the major players in the industry. People make conscious decisions every day that could cost them an eye, a finger, your vagina, your anus, your reputation, dignity, your health, your image, your voice, okay? Your credibility. That's the one thing that you have, is your good name. And when you can come out and make accusations on someone, and then they can convince you to come out and say, oh, no, that wasn't it. I was mistaken. I want to retract that. That's not what really happened. There's a problem here. No one should ever have that much power over you, but I understand when some people are low, they're willing to do some things that are not necessarily the most ideal, but people are ready to throw everything away for a payment of certified funds. Sometimes people are selling their children. Okay, we talked about, Deepa, you hinted at it when we talked about MJ the other night. Okay, so not only that, just regular people are throwing their family members down the drain. It's not just celebrities, but regular people are doing this. But when we talk about role models, because so many people were stuck on, oh, she was 19. Well, look at the role models, because Little Kim has sold her soul. She's done it. She's profited. She's upgraded her life. Nicki Minaj has done it. Portia Stewart Williams Gubadia has done it. J-Lo, Carisha, Kamora Lee Simmons, Cardi B. Jocelyn Hernandez, all of these women, and there are countless others, but they have millions and millions of 19-year-old girls looking at them. And when you go down their Instagram, it's giving hello hookup culture. Hello, there's nothing wrong with sexual liberation. Folks are signing up for BS and trading that in for luxury and say, hey, I have a story to tell. Don't make me tell on you. This is happening. This is happening. I'm not saying this is happening. And I understand that Cassie was hurt. I understand that. I was 19 years old before, too. I haven't forgotten what it's like. I understand what it feels like to be in a situation where you feel intimidated. And sadly, I did not have a mother who instilled a certain bold strength inside of me because she was not yet strong herself. But whatever spiritual beliefs you have, I'm certain you can understand this. All things are working together for my greater good, even when I don't recognize it. So even though my mother didn't teach me and my father didn't instill that in me, thank God I had two grandmothers who did. And I knew early on from watching my father was not only my mother, but somebody else's 19 and 23-year-old daughters, that when you eat off of a man's plate, you owe him. You owe him. And what's baffling to me is anytime I get up here and talk about how unqualified, problematic, and predatory the men are within our community, because I have a right to do that as a part of the Black community. I have a right to say what the men are and what I have experienced. It's too many females in the chat saying, not my man, not my daddy, not my son. So nobody knows any of the men a part of this 13.2 million. Okay, so and I'll hold on. The favorite line that I forgot: "Who hurt you, Eve?" That's what people love to say when I talk about the man. And when women use that line, "Who hurt you?" as if women are unaware of the heartbreak that a man can cause to a woman's life, you're implying, just as men imply, that whatever hurt a woman is experiencing, that it is somehow that woman's fault. So let's use our brain. Now we have this Diddy story, and I let it be known, yes, Diddy is flat out wrong, 10,000%. But Cassie had a part to play in it too. Now I'm accused of victim shaming. And y'all say she was only 19. So let me get this straight. Y'all don't want to hold men accountable. Y'all don't want to speak out and warn other people, but you also don't want to strengthen and educate young girls to stay away from these type of men. Because in order to warn girls to stay away from these type of men, you got to talk about them. You got to let it be known how bad they are. You can't keep it a secret. You can't say, oh my gosh, oh no, I don't want to bash Black men. Why can't we bash them? We see them every day. Why not?
Come on, E.
Okay. So that is what I have a problem with, because if you don't want to call out the behavior of these men, really all you want to do is bitch and complain. You're part of the problem. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Something has to give. And due to the history lesson, this is my last point. Due to the history lesson we just learned, we now know that Cassie, in some aspects, is a predator as well. So miss me with the victim blaming. How are we victim blaming when your so-called victim is out here creating victims her same age and probably younger? Okay, that's likening what was that? R. Kelly saying, "Oh, I'm a victim too. I was SA this," and that doesn't give you privilege to affect another young person who doesn't have a choice yet. So I get this. I want this last thing, Bunny, when she said, some of the situations she's experienced, it reminded me, it took me back to when I was 17, 18, 19, 20. Men have made me some unbelievable offers. Okay. And there were days I was trying to get into the industry as well. And I can tell you this, there were so many men who were older than me. And I didn't have a problem with it when I was 18, 24, 26-year-old men, but sometimes they lied about their age. They weren't 26 and 28, but I didn't know any better until, somehow it came out. Some of these men were 32, 34, 36. Okay. Telling me I can get you on this set, I can get you into this studio. And these are not men who didn't have the power to do so, because I know men who were working on the Trey Songz album ready in the studio with him. And I was trying to write and I wanted to get in there. And he said, yeah, we can talk about that over dinner first. It's always something that I needed to do first before I can get into the room. Hell no. Or I remember one saying, "Oh, let me come and pick you up and let me take you." No, these types of situations scared me. Okay. Because a lot of men in positions of power, in my experience and from what I saw, even if it didn't happen to me, some of the things I saw, these men in positions of power, they yield their position as a weapon. And thanks to my Nana, I had enough discernment to say, no, thank you. And so when people get up here and share their experience, I think we're quick to label people as victim blaming because you are triggered within your trauma. Something has happened to you and you're identifying with this particular person. But you know what? I understand everyone deserves to be compensated, for at the end of the day, I understand. What did you say, Diva, at the beginning? Cash is king. I get that. But if it's really what people want it to be about, if it's really for the girls, if it's really for those 19-year-old girls, and it's really for the people, give that money to charity. You already got a big house. You have enough. You live in luxury. Start something up for these girls. Be a voice. I know you can't talk about this Diddy thing anymore, but that doesn't mean you can't be of assistance to other people. So that's what I'd like to see from Cassie. I sure would.
I appreciate you, E. You said a lot, and I don't think many caught it. If they did, great. But I'll just make a couple of points to what you said. See, when it comes to what's Nick Cannon, every time I did a Nick Cannon story and I said it was dreadful, people was like, leave him alone because he got the money to pay for these kids. That's a whole nother story in and of itself right there. Right? Because it's, again, with the red flags and these females that are allowing it, that are doing it. But I'm going to leave that alone. Right? That's a whole nother story. Because why? What did I say? Money is king. And listen, people, leave Cassie out of this for 1 minute. Because I'm not talking about her. I'm talking generic here. When it comes to the dollar bill, people will forget about the law, morals, and everything else in between. Everything else in between. The minute you bring a Nick Cannon and him creating all these broken homes, people tell you, oh, shut up. He got the money to pay for it. But then we have other conversations and it says money don't buy your kids love. Your kids need you. Which one are y'all going to do? We double talk all the time, depending upon who it is, the situation, and whether or not that person has money. But when the person has money, we hold them accountable for nothing. I tell you right now, how many times, if you go back to all my Nick Cannon videos, Diva, be quiet. He has the money to pay for them. And he's taking care of them. Okay. All of these stories intertwine. Because we decide and choose when we're going to pull out morals and when we're going to feel sorry for them, depending upon who it is and if the person got money or not. I talked about how, what is his name that just had the baby? He got to pay this chick $30,000 a month for the baby. I want to say Al Pacino just came to me, right?
Robert De Niro.
Both of them, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. I said he was too darn young. She's too darn young for him. Diva, let him do what he do. Why? Because Al Pacino got money. But if your next door neighbor was talking to the 19-year-old, y'all would be like, that's disgusting. He's a predator. Money is king. We don't think about nothing. We don't hold them to no standard when they got money. All that goes out the door. And we pick and choose. He been with these young chicks, Diddy. And Young Miami, she did an interview. This is not Diva. She did an interview saying she likes golden showers. Do you think he has stopped doing whatever it is he's been doing? It is embedded in him.
That's right.
She bragged about the 300K or first it was 200K. Then he had baby love. Then it was 300K. She bragged about the 300K spending budget that she got a month from Diddy. You couldn't give me $1 million a month to pee on me. I'd rather go down to the social services and get me some food stamps in the EBT card. I'll be darned. You're not peeing on me.
And
Section 8.
In Section 8.
I'll be standing up for
That
all
part.
That's
I have no problem with
And
that.
I get all my furniture from the Goodwill, but I be darned, you're not peeing on me. You're not pooping on me. I'm not doing all that. But she didn't say she liked golden showers. She loved golden showers. Money is king. But then, and I'm not saying Cassie, y'all, so sit down and hold on tight. But then after they accept all of that, they signed up. The devil gave them a contract and they signed on the dotted line. And then later on, when they realized that all of this got them broken inside, got their mind twisted up, had them going crazy, they want to come back and say, you were over me. This is all your fault. Okay. Then when we want to educate, we want to talk, it's like mind your business. But then when you ready to talk, you want us in the business and you want us to rally behind you. We doing a whole lot of foolery. And then if you got somebody to talk about the foolery, you want to try to shut them down and say, don't victim blame. And that's why I'm telling y'all, get off of that road and come over to the other road. Because that road is going to have everybody stuck, everybody uneducated, and everybody doing the same foolery over and over again. They said when you do the same thing over again, expect a different result. That is insanity. Not going into no thing with you. We already know there's some part of you that all the ladies coming behind, there's some part of them that already can Google or heard about a Diddy story. Now if somebody roll up on you and say they're a producer, you better Google first. You a producer? Well, I don't even see your Instagram built up here. I don't see who did you produce. Let me look up these people and see if your name is on the credits. This is the best time ever. You could Google. I give my girlfriend a name. This person asked me out. She give me 5 minutes and then she calling me back. Child, he got 2 Facebook pages. He got 2 Instagram pages. Honey, it looks like you got a wife, a kid, a dog, and a biscuit. Come on now. If you want to sit in this internet age and talk about woe is me and I didn't know, the lies. There's red flags. There's yield signs. There's people that say stop, don't go. And you went anyway. It's like these people, and I'm coming to you, Dustin, give me a minute. It's like these people where the news said the storm is coming. Storm's coming. It's going to be real bad, so we need all of y'all over here on the south side to evacuate to the north side. Then you got those 2 people that put their feet up. I'm not leaving my house. I'm going to wait it out. Then when the water's up to their neck, they want 39 people to risk their lives to come say them when they was warned 1,000 times to leave. We got to stop with the foolery. Dustin, your thoughts? Dustin, I'm going to move on. Are you there? All right, I'm going to move on. Denzel, oh, wait, go ahead, Dustin. I see you came off of mute.
I just want to say something really quick, Steve. I support what you're saying, but this is a very sad situation, and I hope it gets better, and I hope that she gets what she deserves. And this is a very sad situation, and it makes me very emotional, especially when you bring other people. But it's very upsetting. It's very emotional and very upsetting, and that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Dustin. Denzel, your thoughts?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, when I saw that, when I first saw that, I was like, what? I was like, what in the world? And then, it's a sad situation. I feel bad. I feel bad for her, and I think I believe. I'm glad that she spoke out because this right here, it really made me mad. It really made me mad because he wanted to shut her up. He wanted to shut her up. He wanted to pay he wanted to pay her off, and it's like, but see when he did that, Diva, I'm a keep it real. When he did that, he told on his own self. He told on his own self. Why are you gonna pay her off and shut her up? And now you looking real guilty, man. Like he looks real guilty. He's guilty. He's busted. He's busted. And I wish that she didn't ignore the red flags. I wish she did not ignore the red flags. I wish that she I understand that she wanted to, be famous and all that, but at the same time, if you see the red flags, do not ignore it. It's not. Don't get me wrong. It's famous being nice, having a lot of money. Is that all good? Is that all good? Yes. But if you see the red flags, that money and that fame, that don't mean nothing. That does not mean nothing. Your peace and your sanity, that's what really matters. So, that being said, like you said, Diva, you know, money is king. Money is king, and like even the Bible says, even the Holy Bible says, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
huh?
No, go ahead. I said, yep. I was saying thank you, Denzel.
Yeah, and so I'll speed it up. So people that want to get in in the entertainment industry or whatever, if they see, because if they it because they know how Diddy is, they should not go to him because he's an evil man and he can't be trusted. And his day is coming, and more people is coming out. More people is gonna come out. He is done, Diva. He is done. He's finished. And I hope he goes to prison for the rest of his life so other people are safe, because this is really sick, and we got to stay prayed up. And that's it. And that's all, Diva.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry
Wayne,
for my time.
no, you're fine. You're fine. Listen, I'm coming to you, Wayne. But listen, y'all know I'm a little ancient up here, but I don't know if y'all remember that show, Fame, Debbie Allen. Okay. Very famous quote with her. She said, "You want fame? Fame costs. Fame costs." Hold on one second. Let me see if I could play this real quick.
It remembers everything. You learn something once, and it's yours for life. But first, you have to become a dancer. Now, you may be hot stuff up in Harlem, or you may have the best tutu collection in the country. Doesn't matter. I don't have time for prima donnas. You want to become a dancer? You're going to have to work. Work your little tights off.
I ain't wearing no tights.
You've got big dreams. You want fame. Well, fame costs. And right here is where you start paying in sweat. I want to see sweat. And the better you are, the more sweat I'm going to demand. So if you never had to fight for anything in your life, put your gloves on and get ready for round one. And Mama and Daddy's little darlings had better come out swinging. What does that mean?
All right. Fame costs. What price are you willing to pay for fame? Wayne, you're up.
I was going to say, just every dog has his day. And if anything good can come out of this, hopefully, if Cassie would take maybe a portion of that money or something to start some kind of foundation, if she's serious about this. I'm not saying she have to just get some money. I'm just saying for something positive to come out, it would be nice if she started some kind of foundation, got behind something. I think she has a daughter. She had children or something.
Two daughters.
And I'd like to think that there's no way possible that her daughters can go down that path, and that everything that she's learned, everything that she's been through, it should definitely be instilled in her daughters. That her daughters just have, I won't say have no chance, but they will have the skills not to go after men like these, not to get caught up in things, like this. And one thing my godmother told me, you keep your children talking to you, you have to worry about, they're going to tell you everything. But when you're not talking to your children, those little nuances that, my daughter, oh my God, she used to talk my ear off. But I always had the other ear open, that I knew how to decipher all the crazy stuff she was telling me to happen in school to the real stuff. And I'm just telling the story real quick. One day she was in elementary school, and she came home and she was talking like she always do. And then all of a sudden she said, Dad, so-and-so's father brought us home, and they went by his house, and he offered us weed. I said, what? So I went around there. I went around to the people, because I don't know why he took them, home, but I went around and told them. I said, I confronted right then and there. This is what my daughter told me. And they were like, oh, what? Long story short, they end up moving. So hopefully something positive can come out of this, the talks we're having, the education. And like you say, hopefully people see that this is a learning lesson that you can teach somebody. And how do you teach somebody if you don't tell them everything? The good, the bad, and the ugly. I'd rather them know the good, bad, and the ugly from me than have to come back home and tell me the good, bad, and the ugly, what happened to them. So, that's it.
I appreciate you, Wayne. So, Planet B, please stop acting like y'all have all the answers. We never act like that, right? So if anybody's catching that energy, you're catching the wrong energy. Unless you're in the situation, you can't understand the choices she was forced to make. So what we're trying to say, in case no people are missing it, is we're trying to help people so that they can avoid being in these particular situations. I think a lot of times we get connected and stuck on one road, and we're trying to help people get unstuck on that particular road. Heady F, victim behavior energy, well, you're catching the wrong energy. Okay, so you got it. Then you should leave because you're catching the wrong energy, or maybe you should try to understand and hear another side. We could sit here. I mean, there's plenty of panels already that have addressed and connected, and no one's saying, just so we could be clear, we totally understand, and sympathize with Cassie went through. But the thing is, we can sit here, even when you watch the news. So a good therapist once told me, why watch the news? You're not going to be able to do anything about it, but you're going to be depressed over it. Because all the news talks about is this blew up, somebody got shot, somebody got hit by a car, ran over, didn't live, the person left them there for dead, this, that, and the other. What are you going to do about that? What can you do about it? Can't do anything, right? So the thing is, what we have to learn is, how do we prevent someone else from ending up in this situation? Things are preventable. I'm not saying everything, but there are some things that can be preventable, right? So let me just 1 second. Let me see. Okay, so all right. So yeah, thank you, Brittany KO1. No one is trying to invalidate Cassie's experience. People are just understanding that there are multiple sides to a story. Brittany KO1, thank you so much. Totally appreciate you and your connection. Now, I don't want to mess up your name, but is it Angelia?
Angela.
Angela. Okay, you just spell it different. Okay, Angela, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. What are your thoughts?
I am glad that Miss Felicia broke it down, because the red flags I saw when people were reading the report, that how she cried when he kissed her at the age 21 at her birthday party or something. And I go, how her crying about him kissing her, then she ended up being this woman for 10 years. To me, that didn't make no sense. I've been 19 years old. I'm 51 now. But when I was 19, I was in the military. So I had enough sense to know, hey, first of all, I don't like older men. Point blank, my parents had me, they were young. So my mom at 19 would have been younger than Diddy. So there's no way in the world that I can see that some of her choices she made kind of led her into that situation. He just was a piss poor ass boyfriend. And she allowed him, I feel like, to take advantage. And he only treated her the way she allowed him to treat her. Because I feel like at some point, or even at the beginning, she could have left. If she didn't like him, especially not kissing her, she could have walked away. Hey, I don't think this part of fame I do not want. If it's going to have me doing drugs or whatever, I don't want to do that. I'll gracefully bow out and say, hey, I got to find some other kind of job or talent or something else to do. But just watching and reading everything, I'm like, okay, she had a part to play in it. And if you call that victim blaming, I'm sorry, but she should have stopped it before it went so far. And when it got to the point where she was calling the people to set up these the escapade with the different kind of workers, she knew better. And that's all I have to say. You guys have a great evening.
You too. I appreciate you for coming through. Okay. So yeah, we're explaining different sides. Okay. It's a lot. And I'll just say this, that from the documents, Cassie tried to escape multiple times. However, Diddy was stalker and have his team bully her to return. Diddy is crazy, y'all. I think we get Diddy is demonic and there's a lot going on. It's interesting, again, not victim blaming. It's interesting though, at some point, and maybe for him, she aged out. But it's interesting how at some point when it came to the trainer, he set her free. And I saw the 35 pages. I'm still looking into some things. It's a lot. I could just say it's a lot. Emmanuel, your thoughts on the situation?
Ooh, you guys are still talking about the Diddy thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was pretty shocked that it was settled so quickly. But it's not a surprise. As you said in your video earlier, Diva, money rules this world. There is something you said earlier that kind of I connected with when you said that if this were real life, people would react differently. Like they don't really do that when it's someone famous. I don't want to go too off topic, but I often am reminded of a particular artist that would get a lot of young children and take them to his house. And I just remember thinking, because I saw the documentary. Yes,
Neverland.
There you go.
No, let's talk about it. You know why, Emmanuel? Let's talk about it. Because in real life, I never let my son do sleepovers. I don't get it, and I didn't see the need, and I didn't think it was necessary. He never went to, and if you ask him, he probably was traumatized over a lot of things I did not let him do. But he never went to a birthday party that was a sleepover. I don't see the need. You go over there, you sing happy birthday, you blow out the candles, and you coming home. Okay. And I took him to a lot of the sleepovers, but he didn't get the sleepover. And his face broke my heart in my car when I was picking him up and everybody else had their pajamas and they were staying over. Sorry, I'm not doing it. Because it's not just about me knowing the parents. I don't know about your cousin, brother, uncle, or whoever else is staying over there and might be spending the night or might be sleeping in the basement that you forgot to tell me about.
Or the kids.
Okay. So my thing is, because it's a celebrity, people, they lose everything. I'm telling you, all bets are off when it's a celebrity. But if your next door neighbor came and asked you that, you would be like, oh, heck no. You would give them the side eye.
Mm-hmm.
But when
that
it's
part.
Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Oprah, all of a sudden you like, here go my kid. Where do they do that at?
They do that in Hollywood.
But not just Hollywood. It's regular people that will give up their kids. When I watched the Surviving R. Kelly, she wanted to become a singer. Okay, so you let your teenage girl go to a studio with a perfect stranger because you seen him on TV singing "Stepped in the Name of Love."
And he was a known predator by then. He was a known predator.
Right, but he ain't the only one. They gave up Usher. Usher went and lived with Diddy or one of them when he was young. What? My kid ain't going to go live with you so he could be R&B. He just got the way. And if he get mad at me, then oh well. If he's missing out on the best opportunity of his life, but the only way he can have this opportunity is I give him up so he could go live with you, hell no. Not doing it. No, I'm not. That's why you got the Britney Spears that lost her mind. Because you have families that are in poverty. Then they have this super kid that they see as the meal ticket, and they'll let that meal ticket suffer and go through everything and anything because they like the house and the car and everything else that they're getting as a result of that meal ticket.
You better preach.
And I'm saying to people like, come on now, don't let money mean that damn much to you. Because what happens is you cannot, it takes too much to try to heal that broken child than it is to raise a child that is not going to be broken. Come on, we can name so many names of these kids that got messed up in that industry because they was a sacrificial lamb. Oh, you could get my kid a record deal? Here they go, have them. Where do I got to sign? Right here? Okay, have them. Let me see. Hold on. 72 cents. If the Me Too movement finds its way to hip hop, a day of reckoning is going to hit a lot of your faves, including the one whose wife sung about lemonade. Boom! There it is. So
boom.
That part.
Drop that mic.
You tell yourself to double. You should expect hell, not honey. Well, you better come on. Come on, 72 cents. The rumors on the street is she was young when they got together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it's Jay-Z, nobody going to talk about it. Because why? He's a billionaire right now. And why? Now he's so profound when he talks, everybody was willing to give up their life. If I talk to Jay-Z, maybe my dream could come true. No, talk to yourself and the person you believe in.
I want the 500,000, not no dinner with Jay-Z.
Okay? We got to talk the truth here. So many of these, and listen, so many of these individuals also have been turned out. They said, what is that, Dawn? What is that produced? I want to say Quincy Jones. Am I thinking Quincy Jones?
I think so.
I think I'm thinking Quincy Jones. They said was messy in that poor Tevin Campbell.
Oh, yes. Quincy Jones.
If we're going to talk, we can talk. But if we
even Will Smith and Quincy Jones.
Come on now. Come on, Bunny. If we're going to talk, let's talk. If we don't want to talk, I'll shut my mouth. But Tevin Campbell, they said Quincy Jones allegedly is messy and not in a good way. So Russell Simmons
is next. right? Because how he got Kimora Lee. She was like 16 or 17 when he was trying to rock with her.
Well, Tyra Banks didn't want him. She said he's an old creepy man.
She said it.
And then the crazy part about it too, Diva, is that with a lot of these people, even after they've been accused, and even like with R. Kelly, there's still people to this day that think it was a conspiracy or it wasn't, right? Because with this other artist that I was just talking to you about, when I used to talk to some people, and maybe it's generational because I am younger, so we have a little bit of a different view for Michael Jackson. I remember talking to someone about this, and they were like, "Oh, well, he was just so special. He was just different. He didn't have a childhood." And then I was like, if a 40-year-old something man was asking you for your 5-year-old son to go spend the day with him, you would say no.
That part.
But because it's a famous person.
Bed, like, where did he do that at?
That part. Now, let me say this. A lot of people, unfortunately, did not do right by Aaliyah, including her mother.
Amen.
Including her mother. So there's many. Cassie, we heard about her extreme story, and praise God, because she may have opened the doors for a lot of people to now come up. But Cassie's not the first Cassie.
If I may, Diva, I'd like to kind of go back to the classroom. In this particular case, Cassie was not the girlfriend. She's not the wife. She's not the domestic. She's an employee.
Right, I understand that.
I don't know if some of the folks in the chat, the perspective, and I'm not saying none of it's not true, is that, okay, she was an abused girlfriend, but she won her suit on the merits of being an employee. And that's key. And there's a couple of people in the chat, if I may, who said, well, I kind of understand where Ms. Felicia is coming from, but that piece about the sex workers and what happened with her friend is speculation. Well, that speculation I took from this brief. And if I may, I'll read it again for the folks who came in late, number 128, where it says, Mr. Combs' tight hold over her life had irreparably damaged her friendships. Around 2018, when Miss Ventura was with her friend Carrie Morgan in her house, Mr. Combs used his key to Miss Ventura's house and came in unannounced. He and Miss Morgan, that's her friend, had an altercation, during which Mr. Combs threw a hanger at Miss Morgan. Upon information and belief, the incident resulted in a settlement between Mr. Combs and Miss Morgan. And Miss Ventura, Cassie, ended up paying Miss Morgan additional funds in an attempt to resolve the dispute between her close friend and her abusive and controlling boyfriend. And the reason why I read only that passage out of the 180 something was to support my opinion that when it came down to the negotiation, she was going to understand that she may perhaps be considered a co-conspirator, a person who was part of the setup. And human trafficking is illegal. It is a violation on a federal level. If the sex workers were of adult legal ages, we would have probably gotten the names of these escort services. She's 19, 20, 21, 24, 25. Mr. Combs is 37, 38, 39, 41, 43. Do you really think Mr. Combs wanted to see a peen that is anywhere over 25? Really? No, he wanted more young people. And that's why I say this piece was wrong on her end. There were victims that she created, people she brought into, quote, alleged industry parties. So she needs to make amends and atonement for that.
You better talk, Felicia. You better let the people know. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, facts. We educating over here. Hold on one second. Thank you, Felicia, for that. My girlfriend was sleeping with Big Daddy Kane, Biz Markie, when we were minors. They tried to get me, but I was a virgin. SA is normalized in our community. You better talk. You better
for the
talk.
dollar bill, Diva. Like you said, cash is king.
Cash is king.
In our communities, they say, look, girl, he famous. He got this. He got that. You better go. You better take your 16, 17-year-old butt down there to the, and he want to holler, girl, you better go.
Listen, even what's the guy, I want to say, I forgot what group he was in, but he married the 19-year-old girl. They got
Marcus Houston.
Thank you, Marcus Houston. And then wanted to try to claim he wasn't dating her or was with her before she even turned 19 or 18 or whatever it was.
Lies.
But her family was involved and her family was okay. Yep. Why? Because of who he is.
And the religion.
He was 18, 17, that part, Leo. And it was the man across the street. They would have fell out. They would have passed out and told her, no, baby girl. But because of who he is, you can have her. Do we need money that bad?
Nope.
Come on. Hold on one second. We got somebody new in the building. Introspect, what are your thoughts?
Hi, thank you. And thank you for having this conversation. So I just wanted to chime in because I hear a lot of people speaking on this, talking about when they were 19 and what they did and, and what they wouldn't have fallen for. It's like we have to really keep in mind that these people are skilled predators. They know who to target. They know how to get to them. They know how to brainwash. It's like they're like cult leaders. So we have to remember, like, P. Diddy is not approaching every woman like he did Cassie. He's not trying to rope in every girl like he is Cassie, or any other of the women that he's brought in. So we have to keep that in mind because it's often like we can compare and then make it seem like, well, I didn't fall for that and I wasn't so stupid. But it's like, it's not to say that these people are stupid. It's that these predators know how to brainwash and seduce and manipulate people very, very well when they have that archetype of who they're going for. So that's one thing that I wanted to speak to. And then also it's like they also have they create a community essentially of toxic people, right? So it's not just them who's doing the manipulation, but everybody around. So even when you're speaking about that lady who made the comment about, her friend saying, oh, you better go talk to Big Daddy Kane, imagine you being a 19-year-old who is being approached by a man 20 years older than you, and everybody in his circle is normalizing that and making it seem as if it's everything's okay. Maybe your family's doing that. Maybe, like all these people are doing it, like normalizing it. It's like, how do you use discernment to say that this is wrong? And even if it is that you think it's wrong, it's like you start to question yourself because that's part of the brainwashing. That's part of the process. And the good point too that was brought up was about like how Cassie and a lot of other people who are brought into these systems, if you will, these cult systems, they end up being violators as well, right? Like they end up doing a lot of the dirty work, and that's kind of another way of helping to keep them stuck in it, because it's like, how dare you judge me when you were bringing in girls too, right? Almost like Ghislaine Maxwell with Jeffrey Epstein. We have to think of it more as a system and not just as it's one person against the predator. It's a whole system, and they target people who they know that they can loop in. And that's kind of, like what we have to keep in mind. And even to say that sometimes it starts really early. So we're talking about girls going to concerts, like we kind of think about like older teenagers. I'm seeing it happen in high school where there's older guys who are getting, their nieces, maybe their little sister, to go and talk and convince their peers, their little sister's peers, to start getting into this mindset of, oh, it's like I can get you connected with a guy and he can buy you all these different things. It's a real organized system, and that's why they say, like, when they talk about sex trafficking rings, it's a ring. And so we can't just think about like, oh, when I was 19, like I wouldn't have done this and I was in the military. It's like that mindset. P. Diddy's not going to approach women who are trying to go to the military, right? So we have to really be more mindful and show more emotional empathy, because it's not as easy as we see a red flag and we walk away. It's not as easy as that.
I appreciate your thought process. I really do. So let me just say this. Definitely not just judging and saying, oh, when I was 19, I would or wouldn't. But I am saying that it's education, right? And listen, predators, period. Forget about Diddy for a minute. Predators, period, all target the same people, the weak, the vulnerable. And I'm not saying weak to be mean, right? They could see right through it. Just like men. Let's just talk about everyday relationships. Men know, period, that maybe they could get away with this with Diva, but they would never get away with that with Leo. Okay, so this man just knows that. They know that, period. So we're just talking basic, regular relationships right here, right? So we could we could bump into the same man, me and Leo, and he'll know that I can get away with this with Diva, but Leo, they know how to sniff people out.
They
right?
do, and sometimes they use other women. They use women or they use girls. So it's like they use
absolutely. So what I'm saying here is I'm taking it to this level here, right? This level here, because a predator is a predator. Now he has it on a higher level because he has his money and his influence, and he has everything to shut people up. But predators do the same thing. They always will, because they want a fresh mind that they can mold. So yeah, I know that he's going to target the young people. Yeah, because he knows who he can mold and not mold. And it's not like he wouldn't approach somebody. Sometimes he don't know until he approached the person, because you heard Aubrey said she wouldn't do it. So he approached her. She just said no to the approach. So what I'm saying here is, what I'm trying to get people to understand is that even though these rings are out there, we know that there's dangers out there in the world, right? Because when we send our teenager out to get their license, you got to stop at the stop sign. I told my son, because he's black, don't be driving with your hoodie on your head. I told my son, because he's black, because I have to, right? Don't have 5 of your friends in the car, and let me know who is in your car. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So what I'm saying is that we know there's dangers out in the world. And education is key. And all the education can't happen in a school. It can't happen in a this. It can't happen in a that. It can't even just happen in your household. Sometimes your homegirls got to tell you, don't go there. Beware, whatever the case may be. Right. So yes, I get that he has a whole ring. But if you have some awareness, and if people have some awareness, and we start talking to each other and helping people understand this is out there. Now, I can't stop you if you're going to go ahead and keep going. But I can warn you, I can educate you, I can tell you ahead of time. There needs to be a class to all of these people that are about to say, you want to go in the entertainment industry? Here go Entertainment Industry 101. Somebody need to write the book. Yeah. Okay, now give me a minute and I'll let you back in. All of these basketball players, where they're making all this money, they're losing their money. They got all these baby mamas. They need education. They keep bumping their head against the same wall. That's insanity. You want to go out there, you keep sleeping with all these women, and now your millions of dollars is going to child support every month. 30K to this one, 40K to that one, 50K to that one. So now your money that you're making is being puffed out the window because you want to do the same thing that a whole bunch of basketball players before you walk through that door. When are we going to start moving away from, I feel sorry for Diva? No, don't feel sorry for me because you ain't going to help me. Knock me upside my head and educate me, right? The entertainment industry has always been dirty. It's just getting dirtier. And maybe it always been this dirty, but we're hearing about it more now because of social media and whatever else the case may be. So we could say, listen, any predator, what's his name? Epstein and Weinstein, they have rings. We already know that exists, right? They had a whole chain of people that was hiding and covering up their nonsense, including the police. Epstein was warned by the police several times to knock it off. They knew he was getting on planes. They knew about these young girls. They knew about it. They got mad complaints. And you know what they told them? They slapped them on the hand and told them stop. It wasn't until they couldn't even do nothing for him no more that he got locked up. R. Kelly, the same thing. They knew about it for years. They had the tape. He went to court. The victim and her own family sat up and said, it wasn't me. So I get what I want y'all to move into this realm of, I understand everything Cassie went through. I understand about a predator. But because I understand, I need us to move from understanding and catch some education. So whether you're 17, 16, 19, you didn't have your mother, your father, your uncle, your brother, you get some understanding that that person is about to take you down a dark road, that your mind psychologically is going to go through so much for you to push that out that it ain't worth it. And then you're going to get entangled up in this vicious cycle that you can't break out of.
Hello, Jesus.
Okay, so I'm connecting with Cassie. But the thing where I'm at now, I'm not going to go down the woe is me road with you. I'm going to say, we got to educate these people. Write a book. The music industry, nasty. The entertainment industry, nasty. If you want to go in it, you can go in it, but you got to beware of these pitfalls. How many of these artists are still signing bad contracts? When we've been hearing about people signing bad contracts for years, when are y'all going to educate yourself that don't sign the goddamn contract until your lawyer has combed through it back and front, and you get 10 of your friends? You read pages 1 through 10. You read pages 11 through 12. I read page, and then we come back together and have a kumbaya moment to see if there's any pitfalls in there, and if I'm going to own my own work.
I agree. I think, Diva, the thing is, I feel like people don't understand that, like, at 17, like I told y'all before earlier when I was speaking, when you are 17, 18, and 19, especially a lot of these women that get into situations like Cassie, like I said, I once was a Cassie because I was in a strict household with a strict father, an African father, and a Jamaican mom. Mm-hmm. And like, other than going from school and back and going to whatever dance, cheerleading practice or acting class, I wasn't allowed to do anything else but that. Even if a boy walked me home, I used to get in trouble for that. So once my parents moved and I lived with my sister my senior year, I wowed out because I was sheltered. So it's like some of the girls that don't know these things at 17, 18, 19, they're sheltered. Their family don't teach them about the birds and the bees and about sex and anything. And the thing about it is that even you as a, on the street auntie that might not, know the person, and you're giving unsolicited advice because you see someone going down the wrong road, just give them the advice and see and pray that they take it. And the thing about it is that it's not victim blaming. It's that we know these men are predators, right? Come on. But we need to be cautious for ourselves, right? Like when we're like, if you live in New York City, the trains are crazy right now.
Come on now, you better talk.
The trains are crazy. You need to leave your house with your pepper spray or whatever you carry, because those people are crazy. They're not going to change. But for you to survive, this is about surviving. This is about surviving and thriving and making sure that you keep yourself safe. So when it comes to like a young girl, 17, 18, 19, their brain is not fully developed and they just want to do what they want to do. A lot of girls are either in bad situations or they're in sheltered situations when they get attached to that. Like, I had friends that used to scout, that used to go to places, like E was saying, would position themselves where the basketball players are. The NBA draft, the NFL draft, they would have an after party at the meatpacking district. The girls would be there, underage. We were there. We were in the building, seeing what was going to happen. See who you can secure. So it's like, it's a catch-22. It's a double-edged sword. So I just feel like if people are more able to talk to like younger women about things, come with the approach. If they don't take the advice, if they don't take the advice. If they take the advice, they take the advice. But it's like, you don't know what situation some of the young girls are in.
You got to plant the seed, right?
Right.
Even with our parents, even with my grandparents, there's things now that I record conversations in my head and I'm like, oh, right. You plant the seed. You plant the seed. That's all. Yeah. And water it every now and then and it will grow. Right. So SD Mac, thank you for the super chat. They talked about Brandy's mom. She protected her daughter though. You see why she was so tough with the industry people. Yes.
I said this the other night.
Yeah. And I just want to say before I drop down, it's like, again, I do appreciate the conversation and I do hear where everybody's coming from. I just trying to hold space for the fact that we're all learning, right? And it's like, and as much as we can plant seeds and educate and all that stuff, like some people are still going to fall victim to these predators, unfortunately. And I don't know if many people follow Dr. Romani, who's she speaks a lot about narcissism, because these people come across as narcissists to me. And even she's a licensed psychotherapist, she does all the diagnosis and she speaks on narcissism at length on YouTube. But even she says sometimes she'll fall for, like a manipulator, because these people are so skilled at what they do. And they don't just operate in the entertainment industry. People who have, gone into competitive ballet, people who are into swimming, people who are in the church, people who are in school, the community counselors, these predators are everywhere. So I just wanted to highlight that, and also to hold space for those who are survivors, because oftentimes it's like, well, people will hear these conversations and think, oh, it's like I was so stupid and I didn't do XYZ. I just think it's very important for us to acknowledge that these people are very skilled in what they do. They know how to orchestrate things. And so sometimes you have to go through it to kind of see just how bad and how good they are at what they do. So I just wanted to say that.
I appreciate you for bringing up that side and that perspective. Diva. Yes. Give me 1 minute, E. So thank you so much, Introspector, for that. I do agree with you, right? And I would also say this. I'll just say it, right? We got to talk. A lot of times to find out whether you was healed from something or not is when it still triggers you in a bad way. You probably still have some healing to do on that particular area, right? A lot of times, when people have, and I tell everybody over here, I've never married, okay, have a son. So, have my son out of wedlock or whatever. And a lot of people, when they have that conversation, some people will get triggered. I don't get triggered. I'm healed from that particular situation and issue, right? You can't, there's certain things you can't come at my neck with, right? And when things happen to all of us, right? Things happen to all of us. And I just say this is, what's the name? Iyanla, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to look up that doctor. You got to do the work in life, right? Because if we stay here, right, wherever here is, we're never going to get to here. And we got to get to here, because here is where healing comes. Here is where growth is. Here is where your breakthrough comes, right? And we need you to get to your breakthrough. Because when you stay here, the breakthrough doesn't come. And we need to get there. I will look up that doctor. I appreciate you. Don, you're in the building. What are your thoughts?
I just had a question. On that text that was read on the 128th verse, did you say that someone participated in the, what's the word I can use, bringing forth of other underage women?
Well, here's the thing.
Donna, you speaking to me? It's Felicia.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Diva gave me the work of having to read the entire complaint. All throughout the complaint, probably 2 or 3 years in, after Mr. Combs had trained Ms. Vittora on how to take drugs and being complicit in multiple sexual acts and to create these things called FOs, what he called freak offs, these gatherings. He then turned it over to her, and she became the one who would call up to get these sex workers to come to these events. She would be the one to go out and get the drugs to be given to these sex workers at the events. She would arrange for the hotels. She would get the alcohol. So is that what you want to know? That's what they say in the brief.
Okay. Yes. So who's taking Cassie's money now that she got this?
Whoever she called, baby. Whoever she called. And I'm gonna tell you right now.
Because she need to get her. She need to get her money.
They call. They call the wig doors and they say, you know what? I was one of those kids. I was one of those young people that I was told it was an industry party. They were going to be interviewing people who wanted to be, the boys in the band. And I went and I took something. And 3 days later, I found that I was filmed and videoed and sexually exploited and I was raped and all these other things. Yes.
Because I thought that's what I heard. Because see, we got a lot of I'm trying to choose my words. Because I don't want to get yelled at again tonight and say I'm something that's, I'm not. But this grown woman, after she was what happened to her, decided that it wasn't just good enough for her to get taken advantage of and treated this way and these things done to her. But now I'm going to go out and get possibly hundreds of others. For what? For money? And now 10 years later, 20 years later, you're taking this pervert to court. You're getting money from him from a one-day settlement. And now it's time for them to come after you. All of those people who you took advantage of, it's time for them, because you're no longer a victim once you start victimizing other people. I can't sit there and patty cake and rub your back and burp you no longer. I can't do that.
Right.
I can't do that any longer because you decided that instead of getting yourself together, you're going to put hundreds of other young people in this same position. No. I can't agree. Now, if he had done this to you and you alone, and he needs to be underneath the jail, what you got, you deserved. But you can't then go out and be his pimp or be his madam at that point. And then we're saying, oh, woe is her. No. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
I must interrupt here, Don, because someone said in the chat, that's not what the brief said. I want them to go to section 5. Mr. Combs forces Miss Ventura into sex trafficking. And from 76 all the way down to 97, they talk about these freak-offs and how they would come together. It was an event, something that they planned. Thank you.
So this is not, so Felicia, what you're telling me in these scriptures that you're reading, this is not something that we're making up.
No, it's in her complaint.
This is
her attorneys.
From her attorney. Okay, so these are court documents. See, this is what I said the other night. We can't keep playing victim all our lives and then victimizing other people, because how is that fair? How is that fair for you to go out and then get these other women and young men and point them back to the predator?
See,
now hold on 1 second for Felicia, right? I don't want to go too far down this path, but I'm not going through this whole document because I don't even want to stay stuck on this, because I want to move into the piece. First of all, see, wait. Sharon's World said they hire grown men, not underage boys. What age are we calling grown? I just need to ask you, what age are we calling grown?
Boom. Come on.
Right?
What?
Because
Yeah.
y'all saying she was 19. She
Come
was
on, Diva. Come on, Diva.
She was only 19. See, that's the thing with these conversations, right? She was only 19, but when it comes to the men, he was grown. We already know this man likes people from a certain age bracket.
And who want a 40-year-old prostitute? Like where that happens at?
Right. So you know he likes them young. So you think he just likes the females young and he's going to be okay with a 30-year-old or 40-year-old or 50-year-old man coming? He's not. He's not. So now you're saying they only hired grown men, but she didn't like what was going down. I cannot. That's why I don't want to have these conversations.
Diva,
so let
you
me
took the words out of my mouth because all of
Give
this
me
time.
1 second, though. Give me 1 second. I think it's number 80. Mr. Combs began to call the arrangement a freak off or FO. He would repeatedly tell Miss Ventura at random moments that he wanted an FO. And Miss Ventura was eventually expected to facilitate the location and the hiring of these male workers. Listen, people, we're not randomly talking here. When Felicia said, I asked her to go through these 35 pages, we went through the 35 pages and we came here to talk to y'all, but to talk to y'all on education. Just like she was victimized, so were these other individuals who didn't know necessarily that they was coming to a freak off and that it was really going to be that freaky, similar to some of the same sadistic and crazy stuff that R. Kelly was doing.
Diva, can I say one thing, please?
Go ahead, please. Yes.
Cassie was abused.
Yes.
Yes. But what about the people she abused? I want to what the people for people that are all saying no, Cassie was the victim and it stops at Cassie. It doesn't stop at her. That's what this conversation is. I've been listening for a while. This conversation does not stop at Cassie. This conversation goes further than her. This court document, this is not something that we're talking about, we're making up. There's a court document that her lawyers and his lawyers came to an agreement. So these are not opinions of ours. If it wasn't agreed to, she wouldn't have got the money.
And if I may say again, because I know a lot of people came in later, if you don't, and I'm not asking you to stand with me, I'm giving you what was written, what was presented to a United States court. If you think that approach, point of view, opinion is nonsense, I implore you to read the story of Ghislaine Maxwell, who is doing 20 years in jail right now.
So Sharon's World, that there's a difference in hiring a P than a woman forced to have S. Stop it. Okay, so you hire me. So now that I'm a prostitute, I can be subjected to anything, because she also knew that at these parties, there was going to be copious amount of drugs being given, right? So now I'm a prostitute. Forget me, because I deserve it anyway, because I'm a prostitute. Come on now. Now, when we want to stop the nonsense, we can stop the nonsense. I want to move on, because this is
you said you were coming back to me.
I'll come back to you, but I want to move out of this realm, E. I want to move out of this realm, because if someone is stuck there, I got to leave them stuck there, because I can't go down this path. But go ahead, E.
No, I just wanted to touch base on the woman who was just up here about the psychologist or the expert on narcissism, and how these people are so skilled. Yes, these people are skilled, but there are certain people who become so desperate and fall in love at first sight and let their guards down too quickly, that they don't do their homework or they overlook these things, because people slip up. And if you pay attention, you will catch it. It doesn't take 6 months. Now, in some that I will give it maybe 10% of the time, somebody will be so good that you may miss it. But we need to stop making it seem like young girls are not smart. That is an insult because there are brilliant 19-year-old girls and 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 16. There are lots of smart girls out here. And to just say that, to just blanket it and say that there are not smart girls or to imply that and that girls are just so susceptible. No, a lot of girls are smarter than these boys, I would venture to say. And so we need to stop blanketing these situations and making it seem like our girls are helpless because our girls are brilliant. And I think that's dangerous to say. And I also feel like there's nothing wrong with saying that this was stupid of me, but I learned a lesson from it because I heard that comment come out. We should not act like people are stupid. No, we're not acting like people are stupid. We know that people are smart, but we also know that people have motives and agendas. And since we've all been 19, we can all look back and say, I did this. And yes, this was stupid, but I learned this and I won't do it again. So it's nothing wrong with saying that that was a stupid decision to stay this long. It's fine to say that. And we have to stop coddling bad decisions and call it what it is.
Thank you, E. And I'm coming back to you in my opinion. Sandy 2 says, thank you for the super chat. Diddy didn't just hire grown men. You better talk about this. Can we talk? If we're going to talk, okay. When he told Kevin Hart, this is facts here, what she's saying, that when he and then the underage usher will wake up and wrestle over Frosted Flakes. And when Keke Palmer's mom came out and said Usher was what he was, and if you don't know, find out. He was groomed, in my opinion, by yours truly, Diddy. So now to think that Diddy had her looking on there getting some old guy, she had instructions. She knew what to get. But when you're getting them too, you also knew that these people were not just coming in to have sex. They was going to be filled with drugs and everything else. In my opinion, your thoughts, and then I'm about to close out a little bit soon. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so I don't really. Okay, let me say this in a different way. I get what y'all are saying. Right? I read the documents as well. I get what you're saying. I just feel like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Diva, because you got the medical side. This happened 2 years after she was already being abused, right?
What did?
Well, she was setting this stuff up. This was 2 years after she was being abused and having to do this, right? Then she started setting it up, right?
I mean, they don't give an exact timeline like that, but go ahead and let me see where you're going from.
Okay. So abuse affects people differently. And abuse can affect your mental health to the point where you're numbed, to the point where you feel disassociated, where you feel like you almost want to essentially not be here. And it can make you do stuff that you normally would not do. It's almost like a Stockholm syndrome. If you're stuck in a situation for so long, after a while, you're going to be broken. And that person that holds that control, that power, because that's what abuse is. It's essentially a power struggle. They hold that power.
I feel where you're going, but can I add this to the conversation? R. Kelly said his sister abused him.
I believe that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. That's why I'm trying to connect this for you.
Yeah, I believe that, but I'm just.
Okay, but let me finish. R. Kelly said his sister abused her, right? But still, he's sitting behind bars, and he was abused, and we can all connect with that. That's messed up, right?
Oh, I definitely think I told you Diddy should go to jail. I definitely think he should be in jail.
But what I'm saying to you is, I get what you're trying to tell me about Cassie. I do understand. You're trying to say that she was so numb, she was so broken, she had Stockholm syndrome, she was so abused. But what I'm saying to you is that even with all of that, there are plenty of people that are still behind bars that were victims, but then they became the one that victimized. So
but,
if we want to
okay. So let me tell you where I think Cassie's case is different from those cases.
Oh.
Okay. So Cassie wasn't out here in the world doing this on her own accord. She was being told to do this by her abuser. And if you don't do this, then you gon'. I mean, we've seen the pictures of a fake. I don't really want to go down a rabbit hole, but I'm just saying we've saw the abuse. Okay, I've lived it. Okay, firsthand. I think it's sensitive because I have lived it. I've saw the bruises. I've saw how it affects women. Like it's almost like an out of body experience and seeing it firsthand. Seeing somebody being so broken that they feel like they deserve this. And I'm telling you this because this is what my mama told me while she was being beat. She said, I shouldn't have made him mad. I shouldn't have did this. She blamed herself. It's not right. It's not fair. And I'm not saying what she did was right. I'm just saying consequences that we face in real life have consequences on how we react. And I think if she had been out, since she's been away from that, she hasn't victimized nobody else. Nobody's came and said she victimized them. She got out, she got the help she needed. I'm just saying in that moment, I don't feel like she thought she had no choice but to do what he said, or else she would be beaten. To where she had to be stuck in hotels to recover, or go on vacations to recover. It's in the document too. When she got beat, they hid her away in hotel rooms. They took on vacations. I just don't feel like that's for nothing. I don't think that didn't affect her mentally.
Of course it did, in my opinion. She even says that in the documents, right? Of course it did. So again, I'm not removed from all of that, not by any means. But I'm telling you, in a court of law, had this thing went a little bit further, what Felicia said was about to go down. And also this, at some point, she was able to leave with the trainer.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, right? At some point throughout this 10 years, I understand she left, but did this ever get reported to the police via text, via something, via somewhere, somehow? I get what you're saying, and I'm just saying to y'all, I'm not removed from that. Not at all. And I know y'all saying this is different, that's different. Okay, I'll connect with all of that. But you got 10 years of this happening in the day of social media, all this, all of that. And somehow at some point, it's interesting to me, only to me, right? I'm the only one that approves of this message. It's interesting to me that at some point he let her go with this trainer. But before that, he blew up Kid Cudi's car. Everybody else got the beat down. The girlfriend, he had to pay it off. He had to get that security tape. He had to get this, that, and the other.
And hanging the other one off the balcony.
Right. But at some point, he did let her leave. And she got married and she had a two.
Only because she was too old for his fantasy or whatever. I don't know what his reason was for letting her go. But I'm still saying I can't hold somebody at fault if they being beat. And they being beat so bad that they have to hide out in hotel rooms or go on vacation so you can't see them.
Right. So you can't, and that's what the part of the story you're connected to, in my opinion. I get it. And I'm not going to discount that. But I'm just saying that if everybody out there, y'all want to connect to that, go to the jail cells. There's a lot of people, tons of them, that they're not famous, that they are behind bars with their abuser because at some point in this situation, the people told them, you got to be held accountable too for your part in this situation. So I understand. What I'm here to do is to detach in some way, shape, or form from this piece right here so that we can save some people in the future. We can all stay connected. Listen, 100%. What I need y'all to understand is I feel for Cassie on the highest level. She went through a whole lot of stuff. Not removed, not victim shaming her. I understand she was 19, but I also understand this. There's a ton of people, y'all better go to somebody's jail. There's a ton. And here it is. This is what I mean. Disappointing how some people understand and think, especially why many victims remain silent. That's not why many victims remain silent. That's that and everybody connects to these little what do you call it? These little sayings that are always out there. Oh, victims don't talk because of y'all. Stop.
If I can come on back.
But you can, but give me a minute because I need to talk for a minute. Victims don't talk because of the way we think. That is not why victims don't talk. Victims don't talk because they're petrified of their victimizer, the people that are victimizing them. Okay? It's not because of anything we saying on the street, because we talk to victims all the time and tell them to get out. They don't listen. Right? So they're not coming forth not because of us. I'm telling you right now that if you want to stay stuck in woe is me, no one will get educated. People are going to fall into these situations continuously over and over and over again. But I have to close this out. I have a video I want to show, and I have to say this, okay? I have to, you saying he didn't let her go. At some point, she got with the trainer, they got married, and they had 2 kids. Yeah, awareness is not blaming. Okay, so I'll say this, right? Understand, Cassie, I wish her nothing but the best, but he's still doing it. Like I said, Young Miami, catch the name. Young Miami. How many years older than he? I mean, he was with Lori Harvey. The man likes them young. He's not going to change. Even I want to say, what's the name? Baby loves mother, young.
Diva, please let me just share one more paragraph.
One more thing, because I really want to go. I really want to move on.
I understand, but a lot of people didn't read it. So I'm just want to give the facts of what she presented. Yes. Number 87, Mr. Combs always supplied Miss Ventura and the sex workers with copious amounts of drugs before and during the FOs. Miss Ventura was given ecstasy, cocaine, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and alcohol in excessive amounts during FOs, which allowed her to disassociate during these horrific encounters. Why do I want to share that? Because these were industry events where other people were invited, whether they knew they were going to be performing something sexual or not. Maybe they're going to get a song played. These were young people. And this was what they were introduced to. I am an empathetic person. I am a caring person. But you are my child's friend, and you invite them to a party, a get-together, and you introduce them to this, I want your ass under the jail.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. The 747 flight, you don't know what I've been through, but I said it on this channel before. And because I know, I want to help somebody. Don't walk into the lion's den. Watch who your friends are. They calling you, talking about come to this party. Whose party is it? What's going to happen? There's almost every celebrity will tell you out there that, in those the trailers, or sometimes some of them, is all kind of stuff, and drugs is included. I got a video to show. We had a conversation. Goody my. I want to show this one first.
Dr. DC Hamilton, and I am a survivor of human trafficking. When I was 15, I had aged out of foster care, and I was homeless. And I remember running into a homegirl who told me, hey, I have a solution for your problem. I work as a waitress at a strip club.
Hold on. Because when I tell you I do my research to pull this together, I had a homegirl, she said, I want y'all to listen to this. The homegirl already knew what was up. And she brought this girl into this situation.
You can use my ID to work at another strip club while I work at this strip club. And all you're doing is waitressing. You make money. My boyfriend will keep your baby. And hey, you'll be good. As the boyfriend's keeping my baby, he goes, you can't get your kid back unless you make me $200 a day. He's going to the strip club bragging about how much money he's making off of me. And there's another pimp that's sitting in the club. He sends a message to the girls that he's already pimping out to me that I can make $200 a day faster if I'm no longer a waitress, but a stripper, because he wants to see what am I willing to give up or what am I willing to sacrifice. That was barrier testing. Let me test your limits. The betrayal comes in. Baby, you ain't been working. It's hard for me to get your hair and your nails done like I used to. I need you to bring in some money. So we're talking about from 15 to 19. I had already been trafficked and sleeping with every bit of about 1,500 men at this point. I made a decision to enlist into the Navy without my pimp knowing about it. And when he found out, I still got beat. And I remember begging the officer, please don't arrest me. Please don't arrest me. I said, I'm leaving to the Navy. This is the only chance. This is the only chance I got to get away. I need you to help me. And he looked at me and he said, I believe you. But had I been arrested that night, I wouldn't have survived human trafficking.
I got one more video to show y'all. If y'all just give me a minute.
When I first met Sam, my life was really chaotic and I had no sense of stability. I'd lost everything that made my life my life. So he seemed like my stability. While I was with Sam, he slapped me, he punched me, he stamped on me repeatedly, he spat on me, spat in my face. He put my arms under my body and sat on top of me so I couldn't defend myself and punched me all in my rib cage and in my belly, in my ears. That really hurt. He strangled me once to the point that I passed out. He threatened me with knife, threatened me with scissors, threatened me with meat cleaver, threatened to shoot me in the fence, threatened to break my nan's legs. He rained terror on me for months. I felt like no one could defeat him. I felt like he was bigger than everybody else and he would outsmart everyone else because he used to tell me all the time I was stupid and I was dumb and I was thick. So I started to believe that I was really stupid and thick, and I just felt like nobody could take him down because he used to say things like, well, if you did snitch on me, he's like, who are they going to believe? like you and me, like, look at you, you've got nothing, you know, you've lost everything, you know, and if it wasn't for me, you'd have nothing. That's what he used to say. Sam had a really good head start in separating me from my friends and family because of the situation I was in. So I was already in like a refuge. I was 3.5, 4 hours away from everything that I knew. So I was already quite isolated. Even if my mum texted me and said, "How are you?" he would say, why was she asking how you are? What have you told her? And things like that. And he used to do that, but with all of my friends. So slowly I just cut them all off. There was one time that he beat me up so badly. The next day, I thought he'd broken one of my bones. So I went to the GPs just to get pain relief and for her to just check me over. But the GP said that my injuries were too bad to be dealt with in the surgery, so I had to go to the hospital to have x-rays. I wasn't supposed to have left the house, but I knew that I needed to get help. I knew there was something really wrong with my arm, so I risked it for a chocolate biscuit. I thought I'll just go there. I just need to get some help. But I didn't go there to try and expose him. The hospital, obviously, they were suspicious of my injuries, and I spoke to somebody who was really lovely in there, and I thought it was all confidential. But she had a duty of care, safeguarding, I think, and she reported it to the police, and he was arrested for that incident. And as soon as he was arrested, I felt so guilty. I felt like I was ruining both of our lives and any life that I had left, because now he was being taken away by the police, and I felt like I wouldn't cope on my own. And then I lied to the police. I told the police that I'd fallen down the stairs, tripped over the dogs, fallen down the stairs. So although the police knew that he was lying, and they knew that I was lying, they had to release him. I worried that if I did speak to police and he was arrested, that when he was let out, that he'd come back and do twice as worse to me, or kill me for being a grass, or being a snitch. So I was frightened to talk to the police. I used to make plans in my head how I was going to escape, but in the end, I had to be saved by the police.
I was the officer in charge of Sophie's case. First time I saw her, she looked drained, tired. Her hair, everything about her just looked like it had enough. She looked like she'd got no spirit inside her. Sophie didn't want to report to the police, and she didn't actually make that call. It was done by an independent person who had reported the incident. She met a detective the next day who said to her that he felt that if she didn't engage, the next time we would be called to the address, we'd be going there for a body, not a person.
When he asked me to marry him, he did promise me that he would stop hurting me, but actually he just got worse. He said, "I'm worried that one day I'm going to kill you, but if I do kill you, we'll always be together, because if you're dead, then my life isn't worth living, so I'll kill myself so we can always be together forever." And it's at that point that I felt like that any boundary that he had, he just literally, with those words, just lifted it off so he could do whatever he wanted. Because ultimately, if I did die, he's got a plan of action, and he knows exactly what he's going to do if I did die. And I was absolutely convinced that he would do what he said he would do. I was absolutely terrified of him. He used to say things like, "Nobody will even notice that you're gone." And I used to believe him. I used to think, because I was so closed off from people that I knew and my friends and my family, I did fully believe that if he murdered me, it would take a long time before anyone even noticed. I felt at that point that I was good as dead, and that one day he will kill me.
Coming through the process on the other side, she's got like a glow, like it's like a new lease of life. I can't say that I've seen her over the last 3 months where she hasn't had a smile on her face, and I don't feel like the person I met in the refuge is the person that I see now. I feel like she's got it right, we've got it right, the courts have got it right, in the sense of being proud of her for coming forward and going through that process, and the times where she probably thought there wasn't anyone and thinking, oh, I haven't heard from the police, I don't know what's going on. She still kind of got through it. Yeah, so I'm really proud of what she's done.
Every case of domestic violence, like every situation is very different, but the one thing that remains the same in every single case is the abuser. Like, and they all follow similar traits. I didn't even realise this until months after he was in prison. And I understand from actual experience how hard it is to actually leave someone, because by the time you want to leave because you're so frightened, it might have escalated so much to the point where, you know, I tried to get out one day and I was pulled back in and beaten up and stamped on and spat on because I tried to leave. All the evidence that got used in court was evidence off my phone, and I took a couple of photos of a few injuries, not all of them, just a few, and they were exchanged between me and my mum, but not in the capacity of documenting anything, just saying, Mum, look at this bruise, it's like fading, you know, it's fading, but I've got a doctor's appointment, can you suggest, how can I make it look better? So all of that was deleted between me and my mum, and the police recovered everything that I deleted off my phone for months to protect him. Wait till they've gone out or you're in a safe place. So even if it's a locked toilet, you know, like if you're in Sainsbury's, you're out food shopping, I don't know, say like you need the toilet so you can get into the women's toilets, and just ring for help or stay in that toilet. Like if you're frightened to go home with them, stay in a public place, like prolong your stay. That's what I used to try and do, is prolong my stay. I should have prolonged and then told someone and then got help, but I was getting there. I knew I needed to get like help. It just took me a long time, and I was just lucky that other people called the police for me.
Whether you're a next door neighbour, someone walking past and walking the dog, or someone just in the vicinity, and you hear or see or know of someone who's in domestic abuse situation, domestic violence situation, it's best to call the police, because then we can start our safeguarding approach, even if it's completing a risk assessment where no criminal offences have been disclosed. It's then on our system that we have been to that address, and we can start looking at patterns of calls and behaviour. And that would be my advice, of potentially someone ringing up and reporting it anonymously could save that victim's life.
I never rang the police. The police were always wrong for me. But in the end, I chose to work with the police, because if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be sat here now.
I appreciate y'all for hanging in with me with those 11 minutes. I purposely showed that one because she gave a lot of tips, right? And she said, listen, y'all can call anonymous if you have a neighbor or somebody you think's going through it. She said, because what saved her was people calling for her, right? And then she chose to work with the police. She also gave some tips like, listen, when you get in a public place, stay in the bathroom, don't come out. Right? So a lot of education in that video. Thank God that, you know, she survived her situation. And I understand and know, because she even said it in that video, it's not easy. They isolate you. They start to tear down your self-esteem and all of that. But what we need is education so that hopefully in the future, we don't end up in that situation. Listen, guys, I am ridiculously in overtime. I thought this was going to be an express train. I promised myself I was doing 60 minutes, but here we are. I hope somebody got something through this. I really also hope that y'all understand that this was not about blaming the victim. I understand that everybody heals differently. I understand all of these things. But what I understand most is you got to pump education into your blue in the face and hope and pray that you help someone out there. She gave a lot of tips. Stay. You got to get out. I will always say this: when you get with somebody and they want to isolate you from your family, that's a red flag right there. Listen, guys, good night. Hit the like button. Love y'all. See ya next time. Thanks for hanging in with this tough conversation. Good night and goodbye, y'all.
Good night, everybody. Bye.
Everyone.